as it has been said, with my expertise in mobile development and core EMV. Actually, EMV practically means pay, master, Visa and Co, right?
I'm having an event. Just text me, please.
So
I'm using my
I might
internet.
be calling out cheesy here just for time. Thanks for having me here. Thanks everybody for having me here. It's actually an honor speaking to bright minds like this. Um, Someone just messaged me that they're on the call this time. Oh. All right, Balaji, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And yes, um, we'll go straight to what we are doing today. And today's going to be a bit. Let me know when you see my screen, please. So that just can you see my screen? Can anybody see my screen, please? All right, choose it. Can you see my screen? Can anybody see my screen? I need a yes or no, please. Okay, I can't seem to hear. Oh, thank you in the chat. Thank you. All right. Good. So I will continue here. So today we would be talking about I termed it bits and bytes of payment, but it doesn't mean we're only talking about bits and bytes today, even though we'll be talking about bits and bytes, right? It's typically understanding how payment system works and the systems. Today is practically we're going to talk about the data types and some protocols that runs behind payment systems, right? So I know many of us have picked our card. We've actually gone to stores and then to make payment, right? And then you insert your card into the POS machines. You have been debited. And I know that for most of us are engineers or product or bright minds that are here, we mostly think that how does this thing works. Some of us too knows about these things, so it's not like it's something that is hidden from the rest of the world and nobody can know. So today we'll be talking about it, how it works. We won't go too deep because of time. However, we'll try to touch some few things currently on how our payment system works, and some few things that we feel that it's important for engineers, for people in technology, for people who are building products, for guys that have idea for startups, and then startups is turning towards payments and all that, right? How some of those things works. So I will move on to the next. So I'll outline today an overview of how payment works, the data types, the power payment systems. We'll talk about byte arrays, talk about hexadecimal, talk about binaries. Um, and then we will do some workshop, right? So introduction. We know that in today's economy, right, payment is practically core of every transaction. Or let me put it that payment is practically core of today's economy, of today's businesses, right? Ouch, what's going on? Yeah, sorry. So we know that today payment is practically everywhere, right? You want to buy something from an Aboki today, and Aboki
Recording
is
in
trading at.
progress.
Sorry, Ayo, please go on.
All right, good. I think this
Okay.
thing just went off.
Let me help share. Oh, okay, you
No,
can
no,
share
no,
now.
I think I'm sharing now.
Okay.
Can you see my screen now? please.
Yeah, some people say they can't hear
Chisholm, can you
you.
see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes. Someone said they
Oh,
can't hear you.
maybe the person should kindly check their connections. Can you hear me,
Yes, I can.
Chisholm?
Yes, I can hear
Hear
you.
me? Can people hear me? All right, good.
I
Thank
can
you.
hear you.
Uh, all right, thank you. Okay, so I mean, I will continue, right? So you go to an aboki today to buy watermelon or apple, and then what happens there is that the aboki brings out a terminal. I don't want to call names of brand here. And then the aboki will give you that terminal and say make payment, and you give the aboki the card, right? There are technologies that are coming up. Time is coming in Nigeria where you start using your Apple Watch, your Samsung Watch, your Android Watch, your wearables like rings and all that to make payments. Where you start using your fingerprint to make payments and a whole lot of things like that, right? Um, there is something behind the technologies, or there is a technology, or let me say there are technologies behind the systems that makes them to work, right? Those are the things that we'll be talking about today, because uh, those are things we'll be talking about today. So let's talk about card-based system. We will practically focus more on card-based payments today. And so we'll talk about how they work. So if you look at the screen, you would see that I have card holder, merchant, acquirer, issuer, and payment network, right? These are the guys that are practically involved in card payment today, right? It involves flow of information between multiple entities to authorize and process transactions, right? A card holder gives a merchant, who is practically the aboki, that he or she wants to make payment or buy something. The terminal from the aboki talks to the person that is called the acquirer. The acquirer talks to uh, maybe the payment network, or talks to a processor somewhere there, and then those ones talks to the issuer, right? So these guys are involved. Like I made this short. There are a lot of guys that are involved, right? We have the processor, we have the aggregator, we have a lot of things, right? That is there. For example, NIBS is an aggregator, is a payment aggregator. So NIBS practically aggregate transactions, and then they are the one that routes it to processors and all that, right? So however, I shorten it to these five guys so that we can practically understand. The issuer is the guy that owns that issue the card. Those are the banks, right? The acquirer is the for example is Interswitch, right? The guys that, or maybe banks, right? The guys that owns the terminal mostly. The payment networks are the card scheme. Vev, Visa, and all that, right? And then payment networks too, like I said, includes the switch payment network, sometimes includes the processor payment network, sometimes includes the aggregator and all that, right? Um, so let's go a bit into it. We have a flow here. As you can see, I have my merchant, and then I have my card holder, and then I could see the acquirer here, and you could see the issuer here, and all that, right? And then you see a lot of direction back and forth and all that, right? What I want us to really note here is ISO 583. That's the, let me use the word odogu, that is really helping to power the interoperability between the systems, right? Some of these systems do not make REST APIs. Let me put it like that. Not that they don't make REST APIs, but I know that a lot of engineers today, especially the newer generation ones, practically understands a lot around REST APIs, right? But this system they don't just do REST API calls, right? That do a lot of socket connection calls and all that, right? But what allows this system to understand the data that they send to each other is the ISO 583, right? And then we'll talk about it. So let's define some little things. FEP, front-end processor, CBA, called banking application. We have middleware, we have what we call EMVs. So front-end processor, for example, payment networks, some of the payment networks, what they use to process transactions, what they use to, make sure that they route transaction correctly from. Hi, Ibrahim, please, can you mute? Thank you. Front-end processors is apps to route transaction, route messages, ensure seamless um, communication. Front-end processor too can include fraud detection and risk management. It could include transaction authorization handling, message translation between systems and all that, right? Try to move this down. Okay, good. Apologies, I'm trying to move my. Okay, good. All right. So we now go to call banking application. It's used for deposit and withdrawal processing and approval, fund transfer, settlement, regulatory compliance, and reporting and all that, right? Mostly call banking application sits with your banks, commercial banks, microfinance banks, mobile money operators, and all of that, right? Then we talk about transaction middleware, right? Transaction middleware is what most engineers we actually work on, because some of these systems like core banking, like FEPs have been built, right? So even if you're working on those systems, what you would do is just few changes and some tweaks in there, right? And from experience, right? You practically have to build drivers around on these guys, right? So that you can use those drivers to achieve an aim on those guys, right? But that is what is called middleware that most organizations uses, right? These middlewares, they behave like a front-end processor in some ways too, because they help you to route your transactions, to translate the messages like ISO 583. You can translate to ISO 2022. You can translate back from 2022 to ISO 583, right? Some of they help with security functions like encryption and tokenization. And then one of the major things that middlewares help with is ability to integrate into multiple payment gateway, right? For example, if you have a startup that wants to be that wants to integrate into the two PTSAs that we have today in Nigeria, right? NIBS and UP, and you want to integrate into these two guys, you will need to build a middleware that helps you to integrate so that so that your application is less coupled with this system. So it's not tightly coupled to this system. It's your middleware that is actually connected. And then maybe your POS application or your mobile application is actually connected to the middleware, right? And then these middleware apps for fraud detections, just like you have on your FEP, it helps with login too for compliance, right? We talk about EMV, EMVs, Europay, Mastercard, Visa, and Co. The reason why there is Co there is there are a lot of card schemes today. We have VEV, which is the number one card scheme in Nigeria. Please, if you have not gotten your VEV card, please go and get your VEV card. Yeah. Um, and EMV is a global standard for chip-based card payments, right? Um, and what are chip-based card payment or cards? It's just the cards that you collect from your bank. Let me put it like that so that We don't speak a lot of buzzwords here, right? They are just cards that you take from your bank. That these cards that has chip in them, right? They can be contacts, they can be contactless, they can even be mobile wallet, actually. AMB ensures interoperability across global payment networks. It is EMV that helps. EMV is the standards that the POS manufacturers, the POS application developers or engineers, the wallet application engineers, the soft POS application engineers, and even a lot of payment engineers, right? EMVs, that standards, even the engineers that write the application that sits on the chip of your card. Um, yeah, somebody helped me to mark my screen. Thank you. That sits on your card. EMV is that standards that a lot of them uses, right? So EMV is that standard that allows communication and interoperability between systems, actually, in payment. Um, yes, I want to talk about the offline authentication. EMV allows offline authentications areas with limited connectivity, even though we don't have that a lot here in Nigeria today, right? What we call offline authentication today is not offline authentication, actually. uh, what we do today is, let me use the word of, well, kind of offline authentication, but it's not still offline authentication, because what offline authentication means here practically is you being able to perform a transaction without that transaction going upstream at all. But what we do in Nigeria practically today is PIN verification offline and online, right? But what this is saying here is your cards can have balances on them, right? I mean, I've had opportunity to work on projects like this where you write balance to an EMV card, like a bank card, and then it is offline. But just know that it's not common in Nigeria today, right? So if you're a startup owner and then you're looking for something to do, I think this is something you can look into. Please, if you want to do that, you can come and meet me. I charge some dollars per hour. All right. Like I said, let's talk about this later. So ISO 583, ISO 2022, the standards behind payment, right? Like I said, that's the bonge behind payment. So ISO 583 is just a messaging, let me not use just, is a messaging standard that is widely used in the financial industry to enable electronic financial transaction, right? Um, Hi, Dami, you are writing on my screen. Thank you. Okay. It defines a set of message types, data elements, transmission protocols that allows for exchange of financial transaction information between different systems, right? What does it look like? This is an example of an IS-2553 message. This is typically a 200 message that has probably it has the amount, it has the terminal ID, it probably has the bitmap on it too, and all that, right? So so when you see something like this is a typical example of an ISO 253 message, and an ISO 253 message contains the following part: the message type indicator that tells you the kind of message that has been sent. One more bitmap. So bitmap are those indicator that tells you what data element is available in the message that whatever entity is sending, right? So let's say you're sitting upstream in a transaction, and then you're looking at a transaction that the terminal sends upstream. Let's say you are the backend guy, right, in your organization, and then in your middleware, um, you have terminals that are connected to your middleware, right? And then those terminals, you guys, maybe that terminal is sending an ISO 583 upstream to your middleware even before it actually, goes upstream again. maybe to names or to any of the PTSA and all that, right? The bit map in that message helps your system to check what data elements are present and what data elements are not present, right? I mean, you've been able to decipher or break down that bitmap is a good one because you practically do not need to go through the transaction messages one by one to know which one is present or which one is not present. So virtual field 5 is supposed to be present, that is mandatory. And then in the bitmap, that bitmap is not specifying that field 5 is available, right? Automatically, your system should decline that transaction before even sending it upstream, right? And then we have the data elements, the actual information fields of the message rather. So breaking down the message, like I said, the message type indicator. Don't forget we have a message here, right? Um, Cheesy, please can you help me to clear this drawing on my on the screen, please? Somebody has drawn on my board. Thank you.
Okay.
We have this message here. This is the breakdown of that message, right? So this is the primary bitmap. So these bitmaps, when you break them down, typically, they practically tell you what what are available in the message. So you don't even need to go through the message before you know what is available, right? And then we have the data elements that are included. We have the data element 3, which is the pan. We have two, rather, 3 processing code, 4, 7, 11, 32, 49. You know, it's always more than this, right? This is just me shutting down this kind of, this kind of message, right? Um, it could be more complicated than this, actually. So please note that we don't send those data the way we just saw it. So no system sends data in that plane. I mean, it's easy to pick things out of that, even if you really, really do not understand what that message is saying. It's easy to practically look through. It's easy to practically look through that message and say, hey, you know what? I can see pan here. I can see the amount here. This thing looks like the currency code. Make I just pick make I just go use and go, do something and all that, right? So we turn it or we convert it to byte arrays, right? The processor converts the messages to byte arrays for low-level system checks. There are also some encrypting and decrypting, hash comparison, and a lot of security checks that happens too. So this takes out the data types used by these systems and data manipulations that happens within these systems. We have data type use that most payment system uses, right? I limit it to three because this is the most used three data types when it comes to payment. Non-card, card, I mean, call it anything. This is the most used data types. Now we have the byte array, we have the hexadecimal, and then we have the binary. Um, our workshop, right? What we are going to do, I will shock you when we get there. Well, let's just continue. Um, so byte arrays, passing ISO 583 messages where fields look like card numbers and one-time styles are packed as byte arrays. So when the when the middleware wants to send transaction upstream, let's say to the switch, what happens is that transaction is sent in a byte array format. That is, they are packed in byte arrays, right? Interfacing between EMV chips, like I talked about the chip card, right? And then the devices and then the tokens, what what the exchange format, right, is called application protocol data unit. And these commands, this exchange, these data are being exchanged are actually packed or formatted to in byte array, right? And we'll go to hexadecimal because of time. I want to be as fast as possible. Hexadecimal is widely used in payment system for encoding transaction data to, especially ISO-33, EMV chip transactions. EMV chip came out too. Even cryptographic keys, right? If I give you a key, I'm giving you that key in an hexadecimal format, right? Um, so when you convert a data back from byte array, what you are converting that data back to is hexadecimal, right? So let's continue. We have binary, where we know that binary is the lowest, form of data that the computer practically talks to. So computer interacts in binaries, right? So when system A is getting transaction from system B, the very lowest, the sea level, not this, even lower than sea level now, right? It's very deep under bed of the sea. So even C is not compared to this. It's actually that binary. This is where this is what the system. This is how the system makes sense of the transaction message, right? Some of you at some point in your career might actually, maybe you have a fintech that you're building, or you're working for an acquirer, or you're working for a payment terminal application developer, a PTAD in short, right? Um, and then your maybe the scheme or the regulation has said that your company or your organization should certify their terminals, right? What that typically means is you need to certify with CAS scheme, you need to certify with some payment networks and all that, right? When you're doing those payment networks, those systems, the errors or the feedbacks that we're giving to you, you will hear something like um, in in data element 4, sub element 5, subset element 2. Then they will now start with byte 1, bit 2, right? So you really need to understand some of this data, because if you don't understand this data, somebody's talking about byte 1, bit 2, you need to understand binary, breaking down your data into binary to know, okay, this is bit 1, bit 2, bit 3, bit 4, bit 5, bit 6, bit 7, bit 8, actually. And then, some of those things, right? Then we go to bit, bytes, and neighbors. A bit is the smallest unit of data in computing, like we all know, representing a binary value of either 0 or 1. Bits are foundation of all data storage. Okay? But they are usually grouped to create more complex data types, right? My name is Ayoluwa Oloshunde. Um, I won't tell you the remaining. However, I can break down my name into bits and bytes. If I should put my name on a system, how that system makes sense of my name and be able to create my name, how that system.
Maybe text me. I'm using my internet. Text me. Text me.
That's right. A byte is made up of 8 bits, right? By combining bits, we can represent larger value, like I said, right? So, for example, a byte with all bits set to 1 in binary is 11111 in 8 times, right? And that represents a decimal value of 255. I know majority of us here actually did mathematics. If not major, you did it in WAEC. If you not do it, you cannot get to wherever you are now. You will not do it in school, they will not give you a certificate. And if they give you a certificate without mathematics, please let me know. I will go and sue your school, right? That's just me lightening up the mood. And then we have nibbles. A nibble is a group of 4 bits, right? And then that makes it half a byte. Um, a lot of times when the system is converting, for example, an hexadecimal value to a binary value, those system operates or handles data in nibbles, right? That is, they pick each 4-bit set, right? They don't just work with the 8-bit directly, they pick each 4-bit set. to check or to do the conversion and all that, right? We have what we call the higher nibble, we have what we call the lower nibble. So if I have an hexadecimal value or a byte value, now you can see OXAB, this is a byte. A byte, um, AB, that's typically 10101011, and then the higher nibble is 1010, that's to the leftmost, and the lower nibble is 1011, which is to the rightmost. So don't forget your higher nibble is to your leftmost, your lower nibble is to your rightmost, right? Understanding how this bit by nibbles, work helps you to understand, data when it comes to payment, helps you to be able to, debug, helps you to be able to know what is the problem, why did it fail, and all that. And it helps you to be able to build a scalable, a secure system that actually works well. Then we will talk about something. It's called bit masking or and bitwise operation, right? Bit masking is a technique to isolate. Please, I will answer all question chats at the end of the call. Um, it's a technique to isolate or set or clear specific bits in a data using bitwise operation, right? A mask is a binary pattern applied to data to select or ignore certain bits, right? So when you're doing this conversion or when the system is doing this conversion or checks, right, it practically masking to do some of these things, right? And then it uses the bitwise operation. Majority of us know some of these operations. We have AND, we have OR, we have XOR, we have NOT, right? I mean, I won't go to the nitty gritty of what these things are and all that, right? But and is used to create certain beats and all that. So I mean, in hand, right? If I have two ones, it gives me one. If I have one and zero, it gives me zero. If I have zero and one, it gives me zero, right? That's hand and all that, right? So we'll continue. So why all these things? Are they just buzzwords, right? The importance of all these beat by like so 5 3 EMV and all that, right? Number one, in pin block encryption, right? You should not and you cannot send pin in clear text upstream, right? That's what we call ISO. So that's what we call Visa format pin block. So even when you generate your ISO 0 or your Visa and C format of pin block, you can still send it like that. You need to encrypt that format that you generated before you can send it upstream, right? And yeah, try sending transaction data in clear text and see what happens over time. Just try it in your fintech and all that and see what happens, how much you're going to lose when someone starts eavesdropping on your transaction message, right? We have efficient data transaction, bits and bytes to reduce the size of transaction message, right? So they make your ISO is 583 or your EMV data exchange. How many of us here have tapped on, I've done contactless transaction? That thing is quite fast. You just tap, you don't go straight. Even card transaction, if you tell you, it has gone upstream, right? It's quite faster than you looking for account number, waiting for name validation, entering amount, those, it's quite faster, right? It's quite faster. Interoperability, your systems are able to convert from one standard to another because of these our bits and bytes and then these data types and all that, right? Um, Security, just like PIN block encryption, right? Cryptographic algorithms like AES and 3DES uses binary and X representation for encoding transaction data, ensuring security in card and mobile payments, right? Of course, if you understand these data types or if you understand these standards very well, you are able to debug your system very well, right? If there is an issue, you're able to know, okay, this is a problem, this is why we're having this issue, and this can be the fix and all that, right? Um, yeah, so let's try something out. And this is how it's gonna go. I know in the mind of She thinks I'm the one that's going to do this thing. But I'm here to shock everybody that someone would volunteer to solve our problem for us today. I don't know anything. So someone should help me fix my code, right? This function is meant to convert, apologies, just hold on. Just hold up. Yep. This function is meant to convert binary to string or to hexadecimal, right? Um, Lots are going on here. Who can help me out, please? Anybody that can help me out? Any champion here?
Ayo, they can do that in the chat, right? Okay, so I think Ayo
Okay.
has. Okay, Ayo, are you back? Can you hear us?
Okay. Can you hear me
Can
now?
you hear us? Yes, 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 we can. They can do that in
All
the
right,
chat,
good.
right?
Yes, yes, they can drop it in the chat. Let me put it up back so that we
Okay.
can see it. I just went off. I think my network went bad.
Yeah. So someone is asking,
Okay. Oh shit! I just showed the answer. That's bad. Yeah, someone is asking what.
can you that did you mean convert binary? I don't know. It said convert binary or hex to string.
Convert binary to string.
Okay.
Convert binary to string. BCD. BCD means binary coded decimal, actually. So if you see your 0x2, 0x5, 0x, something like that, right? Those are example of BCD binary. And, most system communicate in this format. I can't see the chat. So it's really not. Hold on. Chisholm, you would. Oh, okay, I think I see the chat here now. Yeah, convert binary to X or string. That way. X is X string typically. When you see X, mostly the readable X is in string format, right? So yeah. Oh, you would expect the string to have, of course, you're a sharp guy. If you use Java or use Kotlin, there is binary to string, there is string to binary, string to byte, sorry, string to byte array. Binary format. I don't know if you get my point right. Yeah. Um, so you can
Please,
use
guys,
string and
please,
all
can
that,
you respond on WhatsApp?
right?
I'm
But
getting my data for a meeting, but it's urgent. So
sometimes,
can you
a
just
lot
come
of
online,
times,
please?
from experience, years of
Yeah.
building mobile applications that talks to payment system, if you do dot, you will collect something else. Yeah, I made it optional parameter. I mean, this is just pseudocode. Apologies. It doesn't mean it's optional parameter. Sometimes when you're building your system so that it doesn't crash totally, you have to do some more, some of these things. So let's go on, let's go on, let's go on, let's go on.
More questions for you in the chat, Ayo. So many. Is each
Yeah,
binary
is
coded?
each
Can you
binary
see them?
code going to occupy a whole byte? I don't want to give you the pin, but let me all do normal so that it's not like I'm a wicked human being. Who can tell me how many hexadecimal value makes a byte array? If you know that one, you would understand what I'm saying. I don't want to give you answer directly. I'm a wicked lecturer. Wicked lecturer. Two. Thank you. Thank you. That's fine. Two. Thank you. When Dell is answering me to, who am I? Neither. Dell, I wasn't expecting to see HP on this call. I mean, Dell is okay. Uh, I mean, we have Let me give till 12:52. That's four, no, 12:53. That's 5 minutes. Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know anything, so you people have to tell me.
Ayo, give us one tip to help. Just one. One.
What tip do you need now?
I don't know. Maybe for the questions on the chat.
I've given
Maybe you
tips.
can.
Somebody is dropping for auto byte, but this is the array. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Somebody is dropping. Somebody is dropping. Somebody is dropping. ChatGPT will solve the problem for you people. Me, I know. A lot of people have opened on that tab now, and they are downloading code from ChatGPT. Well done. You will explain your code. You think you're wise. You will explain your code. Mm, continue. See, today we'll go into deep part of computer science. Yes, we'll do build on today. You explain your code. This is Kotlin, but it doesn't have to be in Kotlin, right? You could do JavaScript, you could do Java, you could do anyone. Time is going, oh. Walaji, Arabi, I'm expecting answer from you. If not, it will give me money.
What are you expecting answer from me?
I even unmuted you. That's good.
I muted myself.
Okay, good. You will give me answer. If not, you will give me money. I'm expecting answer from you because I trust you. I know your capability. I'm seeing a Manasseh on the call. Is it the Manasseh that I know or the one that I don't know? Mr. Bayomilo Godwin, Esther Ian. I'm looking for answer. Ah, somebody is giving me return string is string. I don't understand. How is Jesus? Woo! Joseph Alika. Hmm. Hmm. This is dope. I'm loving this, Joseph Alika. No, no, no. What language is this, Joseph? C++. Yeah, it's quite cool. It's quite cool. Let's go on. Let's go on. Let's go on. Let's go on. This seems to. Joseph. Ah, Joseph, I'll come and learn at your photo. Joseph, let me come and learn. We have how many minutes left, Chisholm? I think we have 2 minutes to go, right?
Yeah, but there's another. I think someone else added something to the chat. Want to
Wow.
take a look?
Okay. Another person. All right. Okay. So I think I have two answers. I have three answers. So this is what I'm gonna do. Um. Wow. This person just carry encoding UTF-8 dot get string. I can tell you that that might be wrong, and that might be right. It depends on how sharp your programming language is, actually. Um. I can see everybody's. Okay. Okay. Everybody's doing for loop. Everybody's doing OM. It's good now. It's good. It's OM. At least it's OM. The time is not too long. So, that's good. All right, so let me call Joel. Hi, Joel. Joseph, rather. Hi, Joseph. Children, please help me to unmute Joseph if the
Yeah,
person is
he can.
unmuted. Please.
Yeah, Joseph, you
Can
can
you
unmute.
explain this your code for us?
Okay. Each binary coded decimal basically it takes 4 bits to represent a binary coded decimal. So for
Okay.
each byte in the byte array, I'm taking the first 4 bits and then I have to shift it to four decimal places, 4 binary places rather, to the
Okay.
right, so that it doesn't to reduce. For example, if I have something like
You have to turn
um
it to the, once you pick the higher neighbor, you have to turn it to the lowest. Once you convert, you have to pick the lowest
yeah,
neighbor from the higher neighbor. Yeah, I get that. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
fine. Continue.
yeah, then I convert it to a character by just adding the zero character, so that
Awesome.
will
Good.
get turned it into a digit.
Awesome. Good.
Then do the same.
Okay. Good. That's fine. That's fine. I'm looking for someone that dropped. I can see Wisdom Emeka. Please, can you explain what you did for us? The reason why I love this Wisdom Emeka is actually in Scotland. And this is how a normal Kotlin developer will write this. Hi, Wisdom. Are you there? Hi, Wisdom. Oh, God. Okay, I think Wisdom is not here. Great. Great. Uh, Yeah, we can hear, but it's
Yes,
quite low.
your faint. Yeah.
A bit low. So I mean, let me just wrap this up, right? Apologies for everybody. I wish I could call everybody, but because of our time, Dell, thank you. I mean, I can't check all your codes actually, but yeah, I mean, I can see that there are great minds and bright minds here. So thank you. Oh, Ross, my favorite. Why are you doing this? Who is this? Samuel Olushola. Oh. Okay. So, what's his name? Joseph explained. So this is my solution, or the one I copied from Google or Stack Overflow. Yeah. Typically, um, this is so I created a character array from 0 to 15, which represents the value of x in for those decimal numbers, right? And then I created a result, and then I made the result a like times two of the size of the byte array, actually. And then I did what Joseph did. Like I said, I managed to restart it, so don't mind me actually. Yeah. So what I did was to pick the iron nibble and then shift the iron nibble right in 4 places. Doing this, right? So if I have 0x20 and I want to pick the higher neighbor, or let me say I have 0x25, the higher neighbor of that thing is 2 and the lower neighbor is 5. However, the way system picks that higher neighbor and the lower neighbor is that it picks that two, right? And then it converts it to binary. And then when it converts it to binary, I'm trying to see if I can explain very fast, very fast. Just hold on for me. Just hold on for me, please. It converts it to binary. When it converts it to binary, it marks it, and then it marks it with F0. So F0 will give you 1110000. And then what that masking will do at the end of the day, because math is actually and, it will now give you 0010 0000. If you place 20, which is 0010 0000, you place it below 1111, 0, 0, 0, 0, you realize that there's only one place that we could get one out, which is the third value in the first four digits, right? And then I now shift it four sides to the right to give me 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, which in turn is 2, right? For the lowest nibble, I just maxed it. I don't need to shift it to the right again, right? So that is how and then after doing that, I now pick in my SDGs, I pick what, I did 0, 1, 2, 3. So if the value that I got is 5, right, I will just pass in the value of that nibble into my, like, I'll just get that particular guy in my character array and then append it to my result, right? That's typically what I did. Thanks to ChatGPT. Nobody's clapping for me. I clap for myself. Yeah, I've been talking a lot. I think I've been saying everything. It's time for you to talk to. So let's talk. Feedback, questions, feedbacks, questions. I think people might be dropping in the chat. Nobody's talking
Yeah,
yet.
I'm conversing through the chat to see if there are questions for you. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Ayo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I see one. The person is asking if you can give examples of this middleware we have around us now. So I think that was either on your first or second slide when the person dropped this
Yeah.
question.
Midwest. Hey, hold on. Okay, so, yeah, transaction middleware, I guess. Example of middleware. Hmm. So I know that there are frameworks that have been built to help with the development of middleware to make it easier. An example of that kind of framework is JPOS, right? But I know that a lot of organizations build their middlewares themselves. So middlewares are not ready-made in code unless an organization has built middleware and then they are selling around for people and say, okay, we built this thing, you can use it in your system, right? But it's not like it's ready made or it has been built or and then it's installable or something on that, right? I don't know if that answers it. Like that's why I said that's what most engineers will work on because organizations would employ you to come and build something like that for them.
Okay. Thanks, Ayo. So maybe we'll just take one from Samuel Odushola. He has his hands raised. So Samuel, you can go. You can unmute your mic and ask your question.
If that question is too hard, I
Okay.
will not answer.
No. Good
Okay,
afternoon.
thank
Good
you.
afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir.
No, sir, my name is Ayobula. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. All
Okay,
right,
can you hear me?
let's go.
Thank you very much, Ayo, for the session. Okay, I have some questions based on what you have told us. The first one, I just want to ask for the ISO 8583. You mentioned that it is a messaging protocol. So I'm just curious, like, what's like the transport mechanism? Because I
So I
know
said
if you
protocol,
talk,
right? That's your
yeah,
messaging standard, please. Maybe I'm using English language interchangeably because
okay.
I know you are taking me into networking now, and I don't want to answer.
Okay. Okay, I have another question. So,
Thank you.
like, if one wants to say learn this stuff on your own, because it's looking like you most likely need access to some resources that, as an individual, you might not be able to get. Or like, if I want to learn this on my own, how would I go about it? And do you have like resources, maybe books or courses that you recommend that one should take?
Okay, so I will share some reference. I mean, last. So let me go there. So I have three references here. Um, ISS 583, some beginner. Two of those references are actually my own, articles I wrote actually. There are guys on, I'm a YT legend on YouTube guy. There are guys on YouTube that have
Mhm.
actually done a few things about these things. You can see some of them. there is no one consecrated place where you see this. Um, but here at Interswitch, what we are doing now is that we are coming up with series with materials, videos that helps people to really understand these things. It's coming up. It's not live yet. So please be expectant. On a personal level too, I myself, I have a YouTube page that I'm building up bit by bit to serve this purpose of giving people this knowledge. So yeah, that's it. And then yes, there is EMVCO website too, where you can download your materials, the materials. Yeah, we book A, book B, C, 1, 2, 3, a lot of books, 300 pages, 100 pages, 500 pages. Yeah, I think that answers the question, right?
Yeah, thank you. I would check those resources out. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, I
so
think I
someone
have some
has,
questions. Okay, sorry.
please, let's go to someone else.
Okay.
Apologies. Someone asked, what of using APIs like using Interswitch API? Yeah, of course. There's some things you can do. So, for example, you want to build any payment, call it any payment application today, POS or web, anything. The APIs and SDKs that Interswitch have actually built to simplify these things, but it doesn't stop you from understanding some of these things actually, because you will get to a place where those API and SDK will not help you out. Yeah.
Okay. Ayo, since one last thing on someone's behalf, can we take his last question since there's no one else who has questions? So I
Yeah.
think he had the last question. So Samuel, you can just ask the last question you wanted
Okay.
to.
Okay,
Ayo will respond.
thank you. I was just curious about, when you mentioned the byte array and like data types that you use, I was thinking how you would send that, say, over the wire. Like, what's the serialization? Like, I'm thinking of what's this thing, gLPC, stuff like that. Like, if you want to send it over the wire, you need to serialize it. So how do you do that in your projects?
In my project, I am not doing the project already. So I'm trying to understand your question actually.
Okay.
And I like to, and I don't know if you can expatiate a bit.
Okay. I'm talking about the data types that you mentioned, that
Yep.
if you want to communicate across different services that are probably over a network, so how do
Yeah, of
you
course.
convert the data type to the message that you send? Is there like a serialization process, or because I'm thinking that you might not be able to send the actual bytes array, or is that what is being sent over the wire?
I mean, yeah, you listened very well from the start,
Yeah.
right? I spoke about I mean, the data types, right? So, I don't know if you've done some of this thing, but most of these systems upstream, when you're sending these messages to them, you send it, like I said, in byte array. That doesn't mean that
Okay.
even if you get a byte array and convert it, you will still understand it, because before converting it to byte array, they have been decrypted. So it's not like I just converted a plain data to byte array and I sent it off from another. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So it's mostly
Yeah,
byte array. Like I said, binary coded decimal.
okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Someone is asking how can they, I saw, where can they find me or contact me? Oh, my name is Ayolu Aloshunde. I am on LinkedIn. You can find Love is God, right? Love is God on Twitter. I think that's where you can contact me. From there, don't worry, my DMs are open, so you can just enter my DM and shoot me. Please don't shoot me. That's it. All right. Is there any question? Yes, I'm Shola. Please, you can contact me. It's fine. Anybody can contact me.
There's just a question in the chat box, please.
Okay, what's the question, please? Can you just ask it?
So perhaps if I don't understand, I don't have any understanding of what you've discussed so far. So how can I understand them from the ground up basics?
Okay, so I mean, I just shared references. Um, I know most of us engineers are not computer science backgrounded people, right? So you practically need to go back to the basics of computer science if you don't know, if you don't have the basics, right? Understand some of these basics around data types and all that, right? And then you now need to maybe pick some of these documents up around payments, how payment system works, ISO 583, EMV, tag length value, a lot of things. I mean, they're quite broad. This is not everything. They're quite broad.
Sorry, sir. Sorry to push for the last question, sir. So,
Okay.
I'm just a computer science student. So, but are you saying that if I want to understand them, I have to like go and look for the resources on payments generally, like everything about payment? I have to go and find the resources. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I answered earlier for someone, like I said, these things are not packed in one place. It's not like how to write JavaScript and then use the resources. Some of us over the years, we had to keep going into documentations of organizations. Personally, I remember I had to go to NSP documentation to understand and know that data types. You need to read standards like ISO standards like ISO 583, ISO 2022. You need to understand standards like ISOs, APDUs, a lot of things like that you need to understand, right? So it won't come once. It comes bit by bit, right? It's just to get it bit by bit as you go. Personally, sometimes I come across some things that I should have known earlier, but I didn't know them apparently. But I'm just doing them now. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So yes, Chizzy, over to you.
Right. So there's just someone in the
Thank you.
chat asking. Yeah, thanks so much, Ayo. Again and again
Okay.
and again. Thank you so much for doing justice to this.
Uh,
So maybe you
okay.
can just respond to the last person in the chat, Wisdom, who is asking how he can get mini projects to work on for practice. So maybe you might just want to respond to that in the chat. But
All
just
right.
before,
Wisdom.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go on, Ayo.
Okay.
Just go on.
All right. Wisdom. I'm full of ideas and projects. Just buzz me and I will do justice to that. She came up with wisdom. Samuel Shola, you didn't get my response. Yes, you can contact me, Samuel. You can contact me. You can you can look for my name on LinkedIn. I would prefer that for a start, actually. I'm not the Twitter, Instagram person too much, so that you won't buzz me then I don't answer. But yeah, you can contact me anyway.
All
I think I
right.
answered both questions,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, you did. You did. And for someone asking, Ayo is my friend. See, I have his WhatsApp number. If you want it, bribe me and I'll give it to you. Direct access to him. You don't need to go through anything. You just need to
So
bribe
what's the
me if
bribe?
you have it.
What's the bribe? What's the bribe? What's the bribe? What's the bribe?
I'll think about it and I'll get back to you regarding that.
I charge in dollars. That's I charge in dollars.
Exactly. And I'm Ayo's manager, so everything has to go through
Yeah.
me.
Thank you
Okay,
very
then how do
much.
I get to you?
Get to me, I'm on Slack. So you have to join our community to get to me. I'm going to put the link in the chat shortly. But just before we go, I'm going to say one thing for everybody asking about how to get started, resources, and all of that. If you remember at the beginning of this session, Ayo mentioned that it's like a three-part series. So Ayo has done the first part of it. And then for the second part, we're going to discuss, I think, around data codes in payments. I just need to confirm. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. I need to confirm. Okay, so while I'm trying to get that, what you just need to know is that this is a three-part series, right? And Ayo has taken the first. We're going to also have a senior software engineer from Interswitch take the second. And then we're going to have a Q&A at our office for the third. So access to the third, that is the Q&A, and I might just have to pull in our head of engineering, Ayo, and then the second speaker. You have to join both events for you to be able to get access to the third. And the third will have limited seats because we just want to have about 30 to 50 people, just to keep it open, just to make it easier for people to ask questions that they have. And so we're going to have the second session on the last Friday of April. So you might just want to put that in your calendar so you do not forget. But the great part is if you join the community, you'll be informed ahead of time. And if you also registered for this event, we'll definitely email you with the details you need so that you can get prepared for that. And then sometime in May, for everyone who is interested and has attended both sessions, you'll get to speak with Ayo and the second speaker and then our engineering lead. And I'm sure they will help you or answer all the questions you have regarding this. But for today, I think we're done. Ayo has spent a lot of time doing justice to this. And so thank you once again, Ayo, over and over again. And thank you for everyone who joined and who stayed through the end. I mean, literally everybody stayed from now till the end. So we have this every month, and that of next month is still going to be on payment. And you will get the invite definitely, or an email or anything, just to let you know when the next one will hold. But you can just keep in mind that it's the last Friday in April, same time, 12 p.m. And then sometime in May, a Q&A, and we're just going to have some of our engineers attend to all of the questions that you might have regarding this. But just in case you need it, I put a link to join our community in the chat, and then a link for you to access all of our developer tools, our APIs, our documentations, and all of that. And should you have any other question, join the community. You can reach me there, and you can always ask. Thank you so much, everyone. And then see you on the 20. No, see you. I need to get the dates. See you on the 25th of April. Yes, that's the next event, on the 25th of April. Take care. And once again, before Ayo goes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are very, very grateful. Thanks, everyone, and goodbye.
All right, thank you, everyone. Bye.
Yeah.